Are you going to be having any parties or gatherings for the upcoming holiday season? Are you not sure what kind of appetizers to put out that aren't going to affect your bites, points, calories, or macros? Well, I have a few options for you here with my trio of party dips. One of these is 1 bite a serving, and the other 2 are 0. So if you'd like to see how this is done, stay tuned because it's coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I am a home cook and amateur baker, and I am here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. You'll have to excuse me today. My jaw is a little tight, so I am going to try to enunciate as clearly as I can. And it may take a few takes for me to do that, but I will do it. So today we are doing a trio of party dips. They don't have to be used for parties, obviously, but I figured calling them party dips would get everyone excited for the holidays and festivities to come. So we are going to do 3, but I only have the ingredients for the first one here, because this one is going to go into the oven for about 20-25 minutes. So I figured this is the one to start with first, and I can work on the other 2 while this one's in the oven. Now this is going to be a spinach artichoke dip, which is very popular, has been for quite some time. And I have a loaf pan that I've sprayed with my cooking spray. You can use a small baking dish or whatever you have. That just was easiest to grab at the moment, so I went with that. The other ingredients that we're going to use, we have 10 ounces of frozen spinach that I have thawed here, but I have not squeezed out all the liquid yet. I'm going to show you how to do that just in case you're unaware of how that's done. We have artichoke hearts. Now in the recipe it does say 14-ounce jar. This one I got from Aldi is only 12 ounces. I'm not going to quibble about it too much. It is meant for 14 ounce. But if you can only find a 12, like I say, manufacturers have been playing around with sizes, making the jars look the same, but reducing how much is inside so they can still charge you the same amount, but just give you less. So if you can only find a 12 ounce, don't worry about it, it will be fine. So we have a lemon here also. We're only gonna use half of this. We're gonna zest it as well as juice it. And I will show you how to do that when we get there. We have 8 ounces of my homemade light cream cheese. And using this, which is 0 bites and 0 points if you have Greek yogurt still as a 0 point food on WW, definitely brings the point value down on this recipe. We have a half a cup of fat-free mozzarella, half a cup of grated Parmesan. Now I grated it myself and I weighed the container before and after. I used about 1 ounce of Parmesan to get the half a cup. We also, going along with that half cup theme, we have a half a cup of non-fat Greek yogurt, half a cup of light mayonnaise. Over here we have 1 teaspoon or 1 clove of garlic that's been minced and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And then we will add some pepper to taste. But if you are using table salt, kosher salt is half as strong as table salt because the crystals are much bigger. So if you're using table salt, you would only use a half teaspoon. And I will have that on the recipe so that you are aware you can use either the kosher or the table salt. And I believe that is it. So let me move a couple of things and then we will get started. Okay, so in the recipe, it tells you in the ingredients 10 ounces of frozen spinach, comma, thawed and squeezed of excess moisture. That means you're going to weigh out your spinach like I took mine out of a bag. I didn't have one of those 10-ounce boxes, so I had to weigh mine out. But you are weighing it frozen, which will be a different amount than when it's thawed. And we're going to squeeze out the moisture. So you're just gonna get a clean kitchen towel and put out your spinach and try to get it as centrally located, as centrally located as you can. And then you're just gonna wrap it up so that you have these two ends around it. I'm gonna squeeze it into this bowl. I'd usually do it over the sink, but I don't wanna have to move the cameras around. So I'm gonna show you squeezing it into this bowl. Quite a bit of moisture comes out of here. And if you had left this moisture in, it would have made your dip very, very runny. So you definitely want to make sure you take this step and squeeze out all the extra moisture that you can. And it will probably stain your towel a little bit, but that's the price of having some good food. So now you can see it's very dry, clumped together. I'm going to dump this because we're going to use this bowl to mix everything in. And I'm going to drain my artichoke hearts while I'm at it. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I've drained the artichoke hearts. I'm just going to put them onto a cutting board, and I've put the spinach back in the bowl, but we're just gonna kind of chop all of this up together. The spinach itself is going to be pretty small anyways because of the way it is in the package. This will help not only to break up if there are any big pieces, but also kind of start to get it mixing in with the artichoke hearts. Okay, so it doesn't have to be finely chopped or anything, just some rough chopping. Then we're going to move this aside and we are going to mix all of the other ingredients together. So let me get those back in and we will move on. Okay, and I also got my beater over here and I have my juicer because we are going to have to juice that lemon. We're only going to use half of the lemon for the zest and half for the juice. The other half is going to go for another one of these dips. So no waste here. So we're just going to throw all of these other ingredients together except for the artichoke spinach over there, the mayonnaise, the Greek yogurt, the non-fat cream cheese, the Parmesan, the mozzarella, the salt, and the garlic. So I have already washed my lemon just to make sure there's nothing, since we're using the zest, which is the outside of the lemon here. This is a microplane grater. Any sort of fine grater would work well. What I'm going to do is, rather than scraping it right into the bowl, I'm going to turn the microplane upside down, zest my lemon, just half of it. Ooh, love that smell of lemon. So this is holding most of the zest inside the microplane here. I always prefer to zest upside down rather than going directly into the bowl. Another thing about zesting is this white part. You don't want any of that. That is the pith, they call it. The pith is very bitter. So if you get any of that in here, it does not taste that great. But usually if you're just doing, as long as you see the yellow disappear, you shouldn't have to worry too much about having gotten any of the white. It's if somebody's grating like this all in one spot, you're gonna get a lot of pith in there, but not in this case. So I'm gonna cut off this half that I zested and put this aside for the other dip. Then I'm going to use my juicer. If you've never used this kind of squeeze juicer, it looks like this should fit in here like that and this would go. No, of course it's not logical. You put the lemon or lime, whatever you're juicing, upside down in this bowl. Then you squeeze it to get all of the juice out. And one thing I didn't show you is often I will roll the lemon to kind of like get some of that juice activated. I didn't do that this time, but you can also do that, especially if the lemon feels really firm. I would do that. When you're done, you have like this inverted lemon piece. We'll put this aside because we'll be using that for the other dip, as I said. Now I'm going to just beat all of this together and I'll probably turn down the volume. That's all there is to it, just a quick mix to combine everything. That's why you didn't want to put in your artichokes or spinach yet, because it would have been much more difficult to blend everything if you had added this in. So in goes our artichoke and spinach mixture. Spinach, did I say spinach? Spinach. And grab my spatula and just stir this all together. And it's pretty easy. You throw them all together, you chop up a few things, throw it in, and you'll have a delicious dip in about half an hour. All right, so I'm going to add this mixture into my pan that I have sprayed, and you want it as even as you can. And you know me, I'm going to get every last bit of this out. You paid for it with the points or bites, you might as well use it. So I'm just going to press this in as evenly as I can. This is going to go into our 350-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes until it's heated through. So I will get this in the oven and we'll start on the next dip. Okay, our next dip is going to be a quick and easy one. It's a red pepper feta dip. And it's all going to be just thrown into the food processor here and we will blend it up. So for ingredients, 8 ounces of fat-free feta. Now this is the one that I use, the Athenos fat-free feta. 1/4 cup is still 0 bites, 0 blue points. So this is the one I like to get. The other one, President, I think the points or bites are more, so I try to find the Athenos if I can. But if you can't find this, obviously use whatever one you can find, and just make sure you input it into the recipe builder. 8 ounces of fat-free feta. We have a 1/2 cup of roasted red peppers. It's basically like half of a 12-ounce jar. 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley. If you didn't see my herbs tutorial, I will put a card here as well as a link below on how to prep herbs for cooking. This is 2 tablespoons. That it's not too finely chopped, it was just loosely chopped because it's going to go into the food processor. If you only had dry, you would use half as much. So if you had dry parsley, you'd use 1 tablespoon instead of 2. And then 1/4 cup of non-fat Greek yogurt. And then I have the juice from the other half of the lemon in here. Just gonna get out 1 tablespoon, as long as my hands stay steady. And usually about half of a lemon comes to about a tablespoon. Maybe this one was a little bit more. 1 whole lemon will usually yield 2, maybe 3 tablespoons. Okay, now you can also do this in a blender if you need to. You could probably use a stick blender. I'm not sure how well that would work considering there's not as much liquid as there usually is in something you use a stick blender for. So I would probably go for a food processor or a blender. And we're just going to pulse this to begin with to get everything chopped up. And then I will turn it on until we get a nice creamy mixture. Okay, smells peppery. You can still see some little flecks of the feta in there. So you will get some of that texture, just so that you are aware. Just kind of pour this into our container. Now this is great with pita bread, with vegetables. I've even used it as a condiment on like a Greek style chicken burger. Also as like a little spread, like in place of mayo on a sandwich. So you don't have to use this simply as a dip. You can also mix it into things to get some of these flavors. It'd be great mixed in some rice if you wanted to make rice. There we have dip number 2. It's definitely not going to be as thick as the other. If you wanted to thicken it and not add any bites or points, you could do some of the homemade cream cheese and add that in here as well. But I'm going to pack this away and then I will be back for dip number 3. Okay, this last dip is probably the one you've been anticipating ever since I did my caramelized onion tutorial. And if you have not seen that, I will put a card up here and list that down in the description box as well, so you can see how I caramelized these onions. The onions do wilt down. So this was 1 pound of onions. I have here 4 ounces of my homemade light cream cheese, 1 cup of plain non-fat Greek yogurt. I have 6 strips of center cut bacon that I've cooked up. I just nuke them in the microwave till they got crispy. Cut them up into little bite-sized pieces. And you want to use center cut because that will be the lowest in bites or points. This is usually 1 bite or blue point per strip of bacon. In our little spice mix here, I have a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then just a pinch of black pepper. And in here, I have 1½ teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. That is not easy to say with a stiff jaw. If you watch my caramelized onions or the prepping onions video, you know that these are cut in lengths. We don't want lengths in our dip because you don't want to have a string as you're trying to eat a chip hanging off your lip or whatever. So I'm just going to roughly chop them, which means I'm not going to be too precise. I just want them in little shorter strings than they are right now. Still get the flavors, and you also get this dispersed more evenly throughout the dish. So we're going to set this over here along with our bacon, and that looks like our artichoke dip may be done. So let me go check it. Okay, the artichoke dip is done. I had it in there for 25 minutes. You can see it's getting a little dark around the edges, but it looks perfectly set. So this is going to get put to the side for now while we finish up our third dip here with the bacon and onion mixture. Bring in the bowl we're going to have them in. Add in our Greek yogurt, 4 ounces of the homemade light cream cheese. And you could use, obviously, any cream cheese that you choose. You will just have to adjust any bites or points for them. Our spices and our Worcestershire sauce. And then we're just going to whisk this all together. Okay, so that looks pretty good there. And now we're going in with the bacon and our caramelized onion. And this is another one that this would be great on a burger, be great on a sandwich as like a replacement for the mayo. And when you hear what the bites and points are, you won't mind using it. That is all there is to it. A nice, thick, creamy bacon onion dip. So let me clean a few things up, get everything back in here, and I'll go over the bites, points, calories, and macros. Be right back. Okay, so there we have it, our trio of party dips. I'm going to show you what the spinach artichoke looks like. Since I showed you the other two, it definitely holds up well on a cracker, on vegetables, on whatever you'd like to use this dip for, chips. Okay, each of these dips serves 12. They'll each be a little different in the amounts that you get, but it's considered 12 servings. For the spinach artichoke dip, 1 serving of this would be 1 bite or blue point. For calories, this would be 86 calories. If you're following macros, the fat would be 4 grams, the carbs would be 6.2 grams, and the protein would be 7.2 grams for 1/12 of this pan of spinach artichoke dip. For our bacon onion dip, 1 serving is 0 bites or blue points. If you have 2 to 3 servings, it's still only 1 bite or blue point. Now, if you're following calories, this would be 44 calories a serving. And if you're following macros, the fat would be 1.2 grams, the carbs would be 3.6 grams, and the protein would be 4.8 grams for 1/12 of this dip. For our last one, 0 bites for half of these servings. So you could have up to 6 servings for 0 bites, 0 blue points. Again, if anyone doesn't know, I'm on the iTrack Bites Better Balance plan, which uses bites instead of points, and that is equivalent to the WW Blue plan, the old Blue plan. Now for calories, 1 serving of this is only 16 calories. Fat would be 0.2 grams, carbs would be just 1 gram, and protein would be 2.9 grams. So I hope you will find this helpful with the upcoming party season coming on. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and you are looking for recipes that can help you on a weight loss journey. Also share this video if you think there's someone out there that you know who might be interested in this kind of content. And hit the notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. And comment down below, which of these are you most interested in trying? Do you have a dip that you like, that you use on your weight loss journey? I'd love to hear about it. And you can also follow me on social media. Here is my Instagram handle if you'd like to follow me there, as well as 2 Facebook groups that I am part of. One is mine, Recipes with Roy, and the other is Finding Our Way, W-E-I-G-H. And I co-admin that with the lovely Jennifer Lynn from the Jennifer Lynn channel, and the equally lovely Bree Coleman from Balancing a Life with Bree. So join us over there. There are lots of tips, tricks, recipes, and support over there. So I guess I'm going to go decide which dip I want to try first, or maybe I don't have to decide. We shall see. Until next time, bye.